another fantastic episode of No Brainer. Tonight I have a fabulous guest on, a friend of mine, Julius. Just Julius. We'll just call it, there's your show, Just Julius.
Yes. That's what I go by on the podcast, H.H. Julius or Just Julius, if you're being informal.
Yes, I love it. Julius and I met at the Podfest Expo, perhaps by accident or perhaps by fate. But either way, we hit it off and became buddies. That was a long weekend too, and it was fun. I had a blast. You were working. Julius was working. He was a doorman extraordinaire, an usher. Did you host also? Did you get up and announce people or no?
No, that's actually different. I'm working my way up to that. I want to be I forgot what they call it. I was a room monitor, so I was like checking to make sure all the audio equipment and everybody was in there correctly. But
right.
I could have, but I didn't have the official title. I was going to, but then some people wanted to introduce themselves. I'm like, okay, fine, whatever.
Well, that's how I met my coach, Mark Ronick. He was one of the announcers. He actually did the announcement. He introduced Adam Shubley and one other a female presenter, and I can't think of her name off the top of my head, but she was really good, monetization. And he was sitting right in front of me, and we started chit-chatting. And I said, how'd you get this gig? Who are you? He gave me his card, and next thing you know, I'm working with him. He's fabulous. I'm going to get him on the show one of these days. He's just a busy cat.
Oh man, you're way better than I did. So the whole reason why I was volunteering is because I suck at peopling. So that is like enforced social interaction. If they have to like ask me for directions, and it's like, oh, what do you do for your podcast?
I didn't think you did. I think me and you hit it off. We didn't have any issues.
Yeah, I'll tell you, that was like you should have seen me last year when I was just attending. It was bad. I didn't stay the whole weekend, but if I'm signed up for volunteer shifts, then I'm gonna come back. So
yeah, well, I purposely went by myself. I would have liked my podcast partner in crime, aka D-Rex. If anybody knows, he's not here this evening. He got jammed up at the store, so he's working late. But we miss you, Derek, and you'll be on soon. But I wanted him to go, but he had to work, and then I felt maybe it would have been a distraction. I don't know, but with all those people there, I'm like in my element, man. I just walked around talking to everybody.
Yes,
everybody and anybody who would sit and listen to me. And I hit it off. I became friends with you. I met the former Dallas Cowgirls cheerleader.
Oh yeah.
She sat with me in a couple shows. We had a good time. She had me cracking up. She said I was hilarious. I don't realize it, but actually we met. You funny. And I were in with it was a comedy session, and we did. That's how we met. I was sitting in the back by you, and we needed partners for for what's the word I'm looking for?
Improv? Was that the improv?
Michael, what? Jeez, I can't even think of the word. Yeah, improv. Yeah, they partnered us up. And we were improv partners, and then you were the first person, and then several others told me that I should do stand up that night, and I chickened out. I didn't really. I didn't do it because I had plans. I had to actually go home to do some stuff. But in my mind, I chickened out. And then the next morning, I got up and I did a 3-minute set because everybody was sweating about it. They were like, "Oh my gosh, this is gonna be so hard." So I did a practice 3-minute set in the shower, and I was just like, "Dude, I need like 10 minutes. 3 minutes is not enough." Who am I kidding?
You are telling me when I went up there, that 3 minutes flew by.
Right. But everybody kept telling me when we were sitting in the improv class. They're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm so scared. I'm not going to have enough material." I said, 3 minutes. That's not even a tip of the iceberg.
It's just so funny coming from podcasters. We were talking about this earlier, like how long podcasts go for, and like 3 minutes of talking is nothing to us.
Right. Like I was telling you, my wife complained. She says, "Your shows are too long." That's how she talks too. Oh my gosh. No, she doesn't.
That's a bit right there. There you go.
I'm going to get whacked. And that's the end of this podcast. Zach just got whacked.
Hey, then you can start your stand-up career. That's a whole bit right there.
Well, if she hits me, I'm not standing up. I'll be laying down. I did, but I came up with a whole routine because I have a duffel bag full of silly, stupid stories about me that I don't find funny because they're about me and I lived through them. But people tell me all the time, dude, that's friggin' hilarious. I'm like, all right. So my favorite one is 2017. I had to have, or 2018. I had to have brain surgery, and everybody asks, why'd you have to have brain surgery? I said, my wife wanted proof, and the doctor played along. This was great. The neurosurgeon played along with it, and he came in after the surgery and said, well, this is Zach. You'd be glad to know it's like brand new. It's still in the wrapper. That brand new, brain smell. It's perfect. So I was like, you guys are stupid. Get out. Anyway, I had a whole shtick with it. But, but I tell stories like that and people find them funny. And, that's how I was when I was a kid. I was known as the storyteller. And my friends would always tell me, they'll be like, bro, I know I was there, but I don't remember it being that good. They're like, you made it fantastic. I go, well, in my mind it was. So why wouldn't it be?
There you go.
But so we did the improv class together, and then we ran into each other all over the big show. And if you guys are aspiring podcasters or voice actors or writers or even just are editors, engineers, whatever, you need to check out the Podcast Expo. I mean, it was mind-opening. It changed my whole trajectory because my last podcast I was on, and my buddy still does it, I talked to several different podcast experts, I guess, and they told me that I had become cornered because of the title. We were stuck. We were stuck. And I said, okay. And so I told my partner, my then partner, Trippy, the great Rabu. He's Jewish. He's not a rabbi, so we just call him a Rabu. Because his name is actually Rabinowitz. But I told him that, and he said, well, you go do what you do. I'm staying with politics. And I said, okay, I love you, bro. And I support your show. And I'll have him on here one night. We'll interview him and I'll be on his show anytime, we can pop in and out. But, I just didn't want to go that direction anymore. And he's still doing it. He's in season 2. Since he and I did season 1 together, now I'm no longer part of it. It's now just him doing season 2. Good for him. Whatever. Just not my shtick. I don't, even when I did the show, and the last show, we did 50 episodes together.
Okay.
And the last show I admitted, I just want everybody to know, this is all a show. I have no clue about politics. I hate politics. Jeff and I do not argue like we do on the show. We do that on purpose for the show. And I whatever I said, but this is my last show, so I'm out. Come check me out over at No Brainer, where we're going to do fun interviews with people who have things to talk about other than politics. You have a podcast. Actually, you have 2, correct?
I have 3.
3.
I have 3 podcasts.
Look at you. Look at. I got a shout out to my sponsor. They're not. I'm just kidding.
I wish. Listen, I'm a sponsor.
Look, I have a Buc-ee's hat on a Buc-ee's. It's my favorite place in the world, and I call out to them. Buc-ee's, come sponsor my show.
I've been to one Buc-ee's one time ever. And this was before they came to Florida, so I've not been to any of them in Florida yet. So
I lived in Texas, and I went to Buc-ee's back in the day when Buc-ee's was just a big, as my kids would call it, a BAG, a big ass gas station.
Yeah.
And then it came here, and actually when I was in Texas for my daughter's graduation in I don't remember what year it was, 2020, 21. Anyway, college graduation. And I went to Buc-ee's, and I was like, oh, they're opening these in Florida. And then I took my wife, and of course she was like, my wife's actual thought of Buc-ee's.
Oh, soundboard. I like it.
Yeah. So, yeah, she was not as excited as I was. So I just, anytime I see it, I just go and say hi and get myself a pulled pork sandwich or a brisket.
I heard those are good.
The best.
Yeah.
Texas is known for its barbecue.
Okay.
And Buc-ee's is rated number 1 for their brisket.
Are you serious? Oh, in Texas?
In Texas.
Oh.
It's crazy. So I cut you off because I goofed off about Buc-ee's. But tell me about your podcasts. Aspiring champion of the world with 3 podcasts.
Listen, I just like to talk about different things, and we can definitely speak about painting yourself in a corner, because anybody that starts any kind of content creation, they're like, don't go too broad, Because then nobody is going to want to listen to you because you're talking about too many different things. And then it's like narrow your audience down so you can find your audience. And it's like, what's the gray area there? Because then, like you had it before, you'll narrow yourself down into a very tight group. And it's like, well, actually, I didn't want to talk about that.
Right.
So I've been growing and shrinking the topics as I've gone along. So right now, the longest podcast I've had is a relationship podcast, Advice Line, and we talk about taboo lifestyles and all those kind of things. And then I started.
So are you the new Dr. Ruth? You might be a little young for that.
You have no idea. Listen.
Do you remember Dr. Ruth?
Oh, child, I will educate you in the ways of the sexual ways.
Yes.
It's Dr. Ruth here. I would 100% be Dr. Ruth. Yes. So
I listened to it when I was a kid, and it was almost like, and I hate to say it, it was like looking at a naughty magazine. You're hiding in your corner of your room with the radio up to your ear going, oh my gosh, she just said what? You know, and then in reality, it was education.
Yes, 100%. And she was talking about stuff that a lot of people don't talk about. And it's kind of crazy.
To this day.
So you used to talk about Dr. Ruth. Did you know she had a board game?
No.
She had a board game. I just bought it. It's over on my shelf over here. She has a Dr. Ruth. Hold on. Dr. Ruth's Game of Good Sex.
Wow.
Yeah, so basically you go around the board and you answer sexual questions. If you get it right, you like get closer to the middle. So it's like a little spiral thing. So the first person to get to the middle wins the game.
So it's like Chutes and Ladders or
something. Life. Yeah. It's more like life. Yeah.
Or like one of those games.
Yeah, so it's great. So yes, I definitely aspire to be Dr. Ruth. She's my guru, and the way she talks about everything is just matter of factually. And like the Eastern Europeans and like the Germans, they just say stuff like that, and it's like, why can't we do that here in America as well? So that's kind of like what we do on that podcast is we have taboo topics and we just have it around like a campfire. We just matter of factly, no judgments. People ask questions. We're not like woke police or anything like that. So ask questions away, and we're not going to do judgments and assumptions. I just want to do away with all of those. And then the second podcast I have is an anime podcast, which I do with one of my friends that been longtime friends that we're both into anime. So I decided to start that. And then
do you ever have guests on that show?
Not yet, but I would like to. We just got to get more consistent because
my daughter's boyfriend is huge anime fan.
Okay.
And my son is actually a big anime fan. I used to joke with him because he had posters in the room. I'm like, you're looking at that anime porn, aren't you? He's like, yeah, Dad, that's what I'm doing.
I mean, half of it, yeah, you're not wrong. So
no, he could talk about it, and he posts stuff about the new anime coming out and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, dude, what is, I don't even know what that is.
Oh, see, now that you come on the show, we'll explain all that to you. Because, we talk about the new animes for the season. It's actually called Is It Isekai? So if you tell your son what the name of it is, he'll probably get a little chuckle because the Isekai is like a big... Yeah.
I'll text him and be like, dude, check out this podcast.
So working with people is kind of tough because people have regular jobs. And to some people, this is like a hobby. And to those of us are like passionate about it, it's like we want to be professional. And it's like,
correct.
We got to put out episodes on a regular basis. Like that's part of the thing.
I try and do one a week. This is actually 2 this week, but we had to play catch up.
Yeah, that's probably the whole frustrating part of the content creation in general. But I can talk about improv as well, which is that related to. And finally,
what's the third podcast?
The third podcast is a long form improv podcast. So
there we go.
Yeah, it's a blend of 2 long form styles, and then we just kind of talk about regular topics, and then we'll cut away to a scene and then come back to the topic. So that's pretty.
So you improv while talking about improv.
Well, actually, it's pretty funny because the guys that I have so far, I want to get more people in the improv community, but the 2 guys I have on there are the people I'm in a troupe with, and I've been doing it pretty much with them every week, improv, since I got started a year ago. Right. So the first topic we had was about attachment styles because it's a thing in the improv community for people to get divorced. It's kind of like a joke, and then that's how they get into improv.
Right.
So
it's a sad topic, but it's funny.
Yeah, it's just like the change and the inspiration to go try something new doesn't happen until your life changes. So the first episode we talked about is attachment theory. So it was pretty funny because it was kind of something related to my first podcast, and then we ended up talking about it on the improv podcast. And so we actually talk about like real issues on a comedy podcast, but all
Well,
the
that's
real
interesting.
stuff. Yeah.
What got you, aspired you to become an improv actor?
So that's pretty interesting as well, because I got introduced to improv in Florida like 8 years ago, and I finally decided to jump in and do it last year. I went to this little group that performs down in the Milk District in near downtown Orlando, and they are called Mama's Comedy, and it was the first adult improv group that I had ever seen before. And I was shocked because I was like, what adult improv? What is that? So when they first got in there and they were just doing like mama jokes and like dick jokes and stuff like that, and I was like, this is cool. So I kept going back, and every time they would, there's improv games where you pull audience members onto the stage, and I get pulled up every like 2-3 times, and I was like, whoa, this feels great. Because I like to sing karaoke, but like getting up on stage and like not knowing anything about improv and still making the audience laugh, I'm like, I'm addicted. But it took me another like 6 or so years to finally jump up and do it. And last year, I had a second job, and then I was going to end that job, and I was like, I need something to fill the time, because ever since I've been in Florida, I've done social stuff, but I've never had like a every week commitment type thing until I got that second job.
Right.
Or I should say weeknights and weekends. And then I was like, I need something to fill the void, and I actually need to work on something. So I finally went into improv and did my first intro to improv class, and I was hooked automatically. And it was great. And then the person running it was like, you should get on stage. I'm like, you preaching to the choir here, bub. You ain't got to tell me twice. I'll get up on this stage right now. So I immediately jumped into classes and realized there was way more about improv than yes and. Everybody likes to make that joke, and it's like there's like 100 other things you can learn. I've been doing it for a year now, pretty much every week, 2 to 3 times a week, and I'm still learning stuff like I did not realize was part of improv. So that's the greatest thing about it, is so much to learn.
Do you think improv has helped you with your social skills?
100%. So even if you're not trying to get on stage, I think everybody should do improv. If you're an introvert, especially an awkward social person, you should do improv. And people that are like classified as introverts come into class every day, and some of them stick around, some of them don't, but it's like, at least you got up there and tried. If you walk up there and perform in front of a room of 10 people that have varying levels of experience with improv, and you do a scene for 2 minutes, that's a huge accomplishment.
Yes.
And one of the teachers that I have that I've been going to their classes for the last year, they love to say there's 2 stages of improv. Stage 1, not having done improv. Stage 2, having done improv. So congratulations to stage 2 or level 2. And it's like, yes, that's it. Just do it.
What was your, besides the obvious, what was your biggest challenge? The obvious being getting up on stage, forcing yourself to do it, putting a gun to your head and go, I'm doing it. What was, I mean, did finding the time? Was it thinking that quickly on your feet? What did you find your biggest challenge that you felt you had to overcome to be good at it, to hone your craft?
For me, 100%, I am way overthinker. So that like stirs up the anxiety and everything. Is like, what if I suck? All these different things, and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be terrible in front of these people.
We're all our biggest critics.
Yeah, 100%. And it's funny too, because like I like to say on my podcast, the smart people, the doctors and the researchers, say that we are way more overcritical of ourselves than what other people think. So we're way more negative than other people think we are. And it's just fighting that battle is 100% a thing, but it's like there are varying different levels of improvisers out there.
Yes.
And for me, it's like, I love it so much, and I want to do shows that I want to hone this skill to make a good product to be able to present to people. So that's what kept me going. But some people just have a social aspect to it. They just want to go to classes or just go to like open improv groups, and it's a social experience for them. So for me, it's like finding what is fun and then honing in on that. And for me, it's performing professional shows in front of people.
Right. Yes. So, my biggest thing, and
I don't even know if I answered your question or not.
You did. You got it. You're good. My thing was, so my background years ago, I worked in law enforcement and security, and then I got into sales on accident and became very good at it because I know how to talk and I know I'm a chameleon. I can become whatever I need to become with the person I'm with, right? And when I moved to Florida from Texas, I'm originally from Jersey, lived in Texas. I toured with bands down there. That's where I got my first taste of the limelight, the stage. I was security, but yet I was on the stage with the bands because I was hiding behind an amp or whatever. But at the end of the show, I'd walk out and there's still 40,000 people there, and it didn't even faze me. You got used to it. But I moved here to Florida, and when I came here, one of the reasons I came here was to go to Full Sail. I wanted to be an audio engineer because I said I want to continue to tour. I like that lifestyle, that aspect of things. I know music. I can't play. I can't sing. But I can mix, and I'm really good. I'm very, very good at live mix. I haven't done it in 100 years, but I used to be very good at it. Fast forward, we go to Full Sail. My parents were all gung ho. They were all about it. My ex-wife was excited, and my dad's like, "Look, I have X amount of dollars. Your school costs this. I will pay this amount, or we can help you buy a house." And my wife was like, "We're buying a house." So Full Sail got 86th, and I then found a trade school, to become a on-air personality. And that's where I learned how to work behind a microphone. And I was actually on the radio for a while. I was an on-air personality on a country station up in Ocala called Thunder Country 102.3. And then I was on 98 Frog, Daytona's Jumping Country. Why was I on country? It was the only stations that were hiring 10 years. All the rock station, you had to have 10 years or a female. They're hiring females and tenure. I didn't have that, and either of the aspects. So I got jammed up. I didn't get jammed up. I had a blast. I loved it. Country music is music. It doesn't matter. I could have been on cracking the mic was the greatest thing. And the thing I learned from day one in radio school was, you're going to be your biggest critic, but just remember, 98 point, maybe even higher percentage, hear you talking, but they could care less. They don't know that you just screwed up or stumbled over a word or forgot to give the weather or whatever. They don't. But I would record every single show, and I would listen to myself on the way home on a cassette back in the day. So this is in the 90s. Back in the day, I listened to myself on, and I critique myself. So the next show I would get better and better and better. I started out part-time, moved up very quickly. The guy who ran the evening show, which was called The House Party, got jammed up and he got fired for doing some things he wasn't supposed to be. So they brought me on. I was the next House Party. Yeah, I was a respectable young man, so they liked that. I did very well. So there's, in TV and everything, they have the Nelson ratings. Well, in radio, it's called The Book. And in my radio size and area demographics and all that stuff, I was actually like number 5 in The Book for me. And the reason why people loved listening, and here's my demographics, was females, mid-20s to their 50s, because they thought I sounded either like their uncle or their son, and they knew I was going to be clean, and they never were worried about what I was going to say. That's how they described me. They said, Zak's funny, but you never know, he's never going to cross the line. But I made that choice very early when I got into radio because I did not want to be Howard Stern. Howard Stern is great. He became and marketed. He became the master of his market. But I was like, I don't need to be a shock jock. I don't need to say things that people. First of all, my parents would have, murdered me, and I had friends who listened. I had kids, and it wasn't my style, my shtick, right? And so I just didn't do that. I would push the envelope a little bit, where you think it's going to be a naughty joke, and then it's not. Something my dad would, his favorite joke would be like, "What do you get when you mix a bulldog and a Shih Tzu?" And you go to say it, he goes, that he wouldn't let you say the word, you get a bullshit. No, you got it. So, you just bring it right to the edge. And I felt that was enough, especially on country. Now, the funny thing was I had long hair. Yeah, sure I did. I was a rocker, and I never forget. I asked my PD, my PM, production, my promotion, anyway, the guy who ran the station. I said, what the heck did you hire me for? I'm from Jersey. I don't have a Southern accent. I don't know anything about country music, and I'm a rocker. And he goes, I like your attitude. You have a fantastic voice. And all you got to do is go get a magazine that's country music, and now you're a country guy. And I did. I would pick up those country magazines at the grocery store, the whatever Country Music Live or whatever it was called, and I would know everything and anything about it. And I'll never ever forget. A girl won tickets to Brooks and Dunn, and she came down to the station to pick him up, and she wanted to meet me because she won him on my show. And I came out to meet her, and I was wearing a 9-inch nail shirt, camo shorts, and flip flops, and had a shoulder length hair and everything. And she's like, yeah, I'm here to meet Zach. I'm Zach. She's like, what? I go, did you expect me to be in Wranglers and a 10-gallon hat? She's like, kind of. I go, yeah, no. She's like, that's amazing. I go, why? She goes, because I thought you were for sure pure country. I'm like, no. I appreciate country music, but I'm not country at all. I said, as a matter of fact, now I did throw in a little twang when I talked. I slipped, I said, my chameleon would come out. You got to talk a little country on the radio. There, Garth Brooks right there, And then I said, but if you really want to hear me talk, I'll slip back into my Jersey accent. She's like, no, please don't. You'll ruin it.
Ruin what?
Yeah.
She got something in the bank there.
Right? And it was really shocking the first time I was out doing a live event, and people are asking me for my autograph. Now, my real name is not Zach. That's my nickname. It's from my last name. My real name is Steve, and my last name is Zakaluk. So I get Zach. I've been called Zach since I was in 6th grade. Nobody calls me Steve except for my mother when she's mad. Even my wife doesn't call me Steve. So my radio name was Zach Stevens. And then we had a light rock station that we did. It was automated, but we had to do voiceovers and commercials and stuff on there. And on there I was Wade Stevens, soft rock, which Wade is my middle name. So I just switched all my names around, and I was Zach's brother, Wade. And people would literally be like, where's your brother? I'm like, come on, man. You can't be. Well, we are in Ocala. I'm sorry, Ocala. I'm just messing with you. I love Ocala. They were good people.
You could say that about pretty much all of America there. That sounds so much fun. Just like a character. Well, welcome to improv. You were improvising. There you go.
100%. That's why when we did the improv shtick, I was like, wait a second. This is like just being on the radio.
Yes. Yeah. Everything you're talking about, getting into a character and then just being inspired by something is literally improv. That's all it is.
Mm-hmm. And they told me when I was in broadcasting school that you have to speak very enunciated and and speak properly, and I had to lose my Jersey accent, and they're like, nobody down here in the South wants to hear a Jersey accent. And I worked very, very hard. Like, my wife can look, it'll come out when I'm in traffic. When I'm talking to the car in front of me, you'll hear Jersey come out. But yeah, but I've lost it because I had to train myself. And it's not that I'm not proud of being a Jersey boy, but when I got trained by my teacher, that was, Vance Tyler of the American Career Institute of Broadcasting. We had to speak very, he would teach us how to sit properly and speak from here, and, because he was a sports broadcaster, so he had to get the, oomph out there. I learned that that was all great. It really taught me how to enunciate words and speak properly. But when you're on the radio, you just talk. Nobody gives a crap, unless you're truly like those news guys. If you listen to what's the news station in town? 98. Oh, it used to be 98.9. WDBO, I think, was it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Shows you how much you listen to news, right?
It's on at the gym when I'm there sometimes. That's about all I do.
Yeah, no, I don't listen to news either. Hence why my political broadcast didn't go very long with me. And it was so funny because
sounds so much fun.
I am Republican, and my partner is a Democrat. but I'm no MAGA total right wing, and he's no left crazy conservative. But on the show, we would go that way just to, I guess, spice it up or whatever, keep the audience.
You gotta add the drama, otherwise people aren't going to listen.
Right. We were trying to make it a soap opera. And my wife would listen to it, and she's like, oh, my gosh, he's horrible. I'm like, he's not like that, dear. But it is what it is.
That's like the biggest thing, too, is because it's not just like your wife or anything. Like, people think that when they see something, it's real. I mean, it's the same thing like actors have with movies. People think you're the character, and you see them in real life, and they start calling you by that name. I'm sure like Brad Pitt or like Sylvester Stallone or anybody gets that same thing, and they get sick of it.
Right. Well, how many people I've heard actors say, like, they were out and, oh, Jeffrey Dean Morgan from The Walking Dead, when he was Negan.
Yeah.
And people would see him, they're like, oh my gosh, you killed Glenn, you son of a, and he's like, lady, I didn't, Glenn's still alive. Steve, his name's Steve, actually. He's like, he's right over, he's a friend of mine. I didn't kill him. It was acting,
Yeah.
Oh,
it's frustrating. Yeah. And then they do it with podcasts too. And it's like, I understand you're on podcasts, and like I've had to talk about this with my co-host. I can still talk with my co-host, and she'll be talking about stuff. It's like, and I don't want to talk about that. It's like, but it's your opinion. This is not actual real life. Like you're playing a character of yourself. And people want to take it as fact. It's like, you don't know who I am, and I'm not in the practice of listening to judgments of people I don't respect, and I don't respect people I've never met before. So you can have your comments and say I'm wrong, but it's like, that's my opinion, so you can suck it. I'm not talking about ice walls or something. I'm not taking fact and then turning into feelings or whatever. That's a huge like pet peeve of mine. Feelings are not facts. You can have feelings, but they're not facts.
My this is funny too, because I watch a lot of different podcasts or listen to. I really like. Have you ever seen Ninjas or Butterflies?
No.
Oh, it's a great podcast. Their shorts are better than their shows because, of course, you get the best part of their clips. But they do some really interesting stuff, and Rogan and stuff. And if you listen to these people, even like Joe Rogan's, like, why are people like taking my word on the shot? When he was talking about getting the shot, he's like, why are people taking my word on it? He goes, I'm Joe Rogan. I'm the guy who used to make people eat animal penis on MTV. He's like, what the heck are you gonna take my word? I'm like, 100%, bro. I'm so there.
It doesn't even make any sense. I mean, especially comedians. Like, did you see the Bill Burr when he snapped at the news person on the red carpet?
No. The comedian Bill Burr.
Yeah, Bill Burr. He was snapping on somebody because they were asking about like the Gaza. See, I don't know anything about whatever's going on in the Middle East or whatever. And he's like, I'm a comedian. I'm a dancing monkey. Why are you asking me about a political situation in a country outside of the U.S.? It's like, you're just trying to offload your job on us because you don't want to say your opinion or whatever it is. You want somebody else to say it for you. So you ask these leading questions, and you want asking a comedian this. It's like, I'm a dancing monkey. Nobody should be listening to me. I'm an idiot. And I'm like, yes, exactly. Why are you listening to people that don't have a degree, don't have any certification? Like, we're just here because we like to talk, and you're listening to us. Like, do not take what I say seriously.
I agree. I saw Elvis Presley. Someone asked him what his opinion was on the during the Vietnam War, what his opinion was on the protesting. And he said, baby, I'm just an entertainer. Nobody cares what I think.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, do you think other entertainers should give their opinion on it? He goes, that's their prerogative, not mine. And I was like, the guy hit the nail on the head. So you get guys out there, De Niro or Tommy Lee, the drummer for Motley Crue, or some of these other guys just running their mouth. And you're like, dude, go do what you do. Nobody cares. It's just ridiculous. My wife just let my Rottweiler in here. I don't know why.
I see. Yeah, I like dogs. Doggies are cool.
Come here, Prince. Come here. Can you say hi? Yeah. Oh, all right. Now he's going to the desk.
Oh,
anyway, but it baffles me that people take actors, musicians' word like it's gospel. Both sides. Extremes, Ted Nugent, Kid Rock on one side, Tommy Lee, Rosie O'Donnell on the other side, and people are like that's what it's what it is, and I'm like, why? Because and a dancing monkey said it. Stop it. That'd be like someone taking my advice on politics. Please don't. I mean, maybe. I don't know.
So yeah, I have the same issue with like people in my corner of the world. They want to offload their time or whatever without doing any kind of research. They'll just take somebody's word for something, and it's like, did you take the time to look that up yourself? Like, I give it fact. Take the time to research it, see if it works for you, even experiment with it, and see which parts of it work for you. Everything is a spectrum. It's not going to be cookie cutter fit for everybody. You have to get the information out. So
my friend Daniel Quijano, who's a visitor of the show, he's got a podcast out there. I can't think of what it's called right now, but anyway, it's he's a sales trainer. He's a big real estate entrepreneur, flipper type guy. And so he does, that's his shows. But he says, I am going to, before I open my mouth on anything, I'm going to dissect it and find every pro and con I can about it till I either find out that it's actual truth or baloney. And then if it's baloney, I don't talk about it because there's nothing to talk about. So like, I'll ask him about, like, him and I are both into different healthy vitamins and supplements and stuff like that. And we send each other stuff all the time. And he's like, I asked him about this new craze. Have you ever seen this new blue thing everybody's drinking? The dadgummit. I forget what it's, but anyway, it's supposed to help you. Well, he's like, first of all, it's another internet hype. He's like, he did the research on it, and he's like, it turns your brain blue, which is what it's supposed to do because they use it for when they do like brain scans so they can see your head inside your head.
Iodine stuff?
Yeah, it's like blue magnetic or blue magnetic or whatever. Anyway, it's supposed to be very good for you, but in time it's not. If you keep taking it, it's going to actually make your serotonin too much, and then your body becomes used to so much serotonin that it's going to cause other issues. So, it's not something I would definitely want to be part of my life. That's for sure. So he's big into that. So when he and I first met, there was many of the arguments that he and I would get into, and to the point where I want to like choke him out, and then I would, he'll tell you that, there was a couple times we almost got knocked down dragouts, and the most amazing thing that he ever said to me was that he said, what happens if everything you believe that you think is right turns out to be false because you didn't do the research on it and you're fighting over just your feelings? I said, well, that's usually what wars are started over, feelings, but
feelings, love, some kind of woman,
but it made sense. So I was like, okay, all right. So now when I don't know about something, I'll ask him because I know he's done the research on it. So, stuff like that. So people like that who I watch, there's a pastor out there who I watch who's very
trying
good.
to reconnect. Oh no,
you're still there.
Oh no,
you're there. I got you.
Okay. You cut out. You got
there. You didn't go anywhere.
You froze on me for a little bit. That was interesting.
Oh no, you froze on me too. But you're good. You're back. I'm Zach.
Is it
He's
me?
back.
Okay.
It says you got. I'm looking at my thing, and it's saying you're doing good. I forget what the numbers tell me, but anyway, there's guys that I watch. Have you ever heard of Charlie Kirk? He goes to campuses and he'll debate with anybody. He's very pro-life. He's very religious. He's very religious. I hate that word because he's not religious, but he's Christian, and he's very Trump, but he's also super, super, super knowledgeable. So when he gets up, he doesn't intentionally try to make these people look like idiots, but they'll argue with him and they're talking in circles, and he's just like, you're getting angry because you're realizing that what I'm telling you is factual, and you didn't do the research, and you don't know what you're talking about,
Yeah.
And I mean, that's like, I watch him, and he never loses his cool. He never raises his voice. And I'm like, yeah, I'd already choke slam half them people by now. It would have been WWE up in there, and I'd have been I'd been Andre the Giant slamming people.
That's the thing, though. The first person to lose their cool is the first loser in the battle. So
100. That's why I don't do it. I know it's not my shtick. In the sales world, we have the rule is first person to talk loses.
Mm-hmm.
And that's very difficult for me, but it's a skill I have honed when I'm in the negotiation realm. When I'm in the podcast realm, I don't shut up.
Yeah, I have a different view of it. I'm going to present the information, and you can do what you want with it, because there's people that believe in ice walls out there. They believe that the Earth is flat, and it's like they say they have access to the same information we do, yet they still believe that. So it's like, I'm not going to argue. I'm just going to tell you, I don't care if I'm wrong, because you can look it up yourself, but I'm still going to present this information because I'm about self-awareness and being able to have access to the information and then doing what I will. And that's how I got to where I am now. Like, even with like improv, had I not seen improv in person, I never knew, like, oh, this is possible. I'm allowed to do this. Oh, okay. That's how I am for anything that I do. Even with podcasting, I'm like, I can podcast. I'm allowed to do this. Oh, okay. So I present the information to people. You don't have to believe it if you don't want to. It's like, whatever.
Well, and I agree with you, because you're right. I mean, and I will do research on stuff. And it's hilarious. That's a joke between me and my wife about the flat Earth. She goes, I love you there's nothing you can do except if you believe the world is flat, then we're going to go our separate ways.
But yeah, everybody has their line. You cross that line.
I mean, I think it's an interesting topic. I'll watch it. I find it intriguing, but it's not interesting enough for me to change my whole viewpoint and aspect on everything. There's been a couple things that I've changed my mind on, that I feel I've heard some very good arguments in the way that it was maybe a lie. I'm not quite sure we've been to the moon. I don't know.
Yeah.
But then again, that's one of those things that I don't wake up in the middle and go, oh my gosh, did we go to the moon?
Yeah.
No, I don't care.
Doesn't affect me one little bit. And
as I used to tell Trippy on the political no-brainer, he'd start talking about the Gaza Strip or something, and I go, hold on, I got to look out my window. Nope, I still can't see it. I don't care.
That's exactly what it is. And it's like, I'm not going to change
Julius,
my
I can't see the ice wall. I don't see it. Where is it?
I don't see it either. But it's funny hearing those people, because they have all these. I listened to the whole speech, and I'm like, yes, I'm glad you believe that. That's good for you. I'm not going to change my lifestyle because of something I heard off the internet or heard somebody say. I'm going to listen to the topic. I'm going to do my own research. I'm going to form my own opinion. I'm going to try it like 2 or 3 times, see if it works for me, and then I'll change my life. But if I hear something on the internet and somebody says something, I'm not going to change my lifestyle. It's just crazy.
I heard the world was flat on the internet. It must be true. The interwebs would not lie to us.
That's so crazy. Yeah. So speaking of your Joe Rogan example earlier, I would just start saying crazier and crazier stuff. And like, you guys believe that? I'm just going to keep saying more and more crazy stuff. And at the end of it, I'll be like, subscribe to my Patreon, pay me $1,000 on a monthly basis, and I'll send you more of these little tidbits. Just keep paying me money, and you'll hear more of this.
Yes.
It's like, why are we doing this? But Zach, cults are a thing. They still happen. So
yes, I am well aware of several, and I'm not joining. Now, the joy of being Zach, besides I live in my own world, which is Zach's world. My friend always says that because everything in Zach's world. And he's like, so is it like we're unicorns? And I said, well, I'm the king, so there can be whatever I want. How about that?
Yeah. But everybody should have their own world.
Yeah. I mean, the joy of it is I've never been one that could be or would be persuaded to be a cult follower.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more of the leader type. I'm the blue fish in the school of red fish, I Dr. Seuss you, didn't I?
Is this the start to the cult manifesto right here? We started.
We could.
Big Daddy.
Let's start a podcast cult.
See, in my improv podcast, in the long form one, this is where we would cut. we go to the first cult meeting.
Look, I'm coming on your show. I'm just letting you know right now. We're gonna do it.
Okay. Hey,
I keep saying I'm gonna do it. I want to. I want to see if I actually have the mental I don't know the word of tenacity if I could do it.
Yeah, if you want to do just a regular, just one
or
shot
make an ass of me. Whatever.
All of it.
Yes.
Make it ask yourself that you'd be a very good improver. I said podcaster too, but improver as well. So
every morning I wake up and I look in a mirror and go,
yeah. And it's funny too, because that's a good joke. But in improv, people, it's a big thing to create your own world. So you take a suggestion from people and you go and make a story of it. And that's how every scene pretty much goes. And it's like, I should have been doing this 10 years ago. I make up my own stories all the time by myself. I should have been doing this in front of people and getting paid for it. So improv for me was like, oh, I belong here. But yeah, if you want to just drop in one day, Tuesday, right down the street from you, right there in Altamont, they have the great drop-in class. I was there last night because I go like once a month. There's like 20 people.
So you go to the one in Altamont. You don't go to the one in Orlando.
Oh, I go to all of them.
What's the one in Orlando called? That's the famous one. Yeah,
Sac. So yeah, I go to that on Sundays right now. Tuesdays I go to the one in Altamont every now and then. There's a couple places on Tuesdays.
What's the one in Altamont called?
Improv U. The great.
Do you work for them or do you just go as a student?
I'm not paid, but I will promote the hell out of it because Anthony Francis is the one that runs it, and he is my improv guru. He's too busy to do like shows with me because he's doing so much, but I definitely want to do shows with him as well at some point.
Right.
But he is a great teacher. It is a class you can just drop in and out of as much as you want. You'll learn enough, and if you have an inkling to do more, it's $10. $10. So
$10 a show.
Just drop it. That's the class. 2-hour class, $10.
Really?
Yeah, you just drop it.
So Tuesday night from when to when?
6:30 to 8:30. I can't think of the. I was just there and I can't think of it. It's the back of a spiritual shop. So if you go over there, do you know where Kiwis is? The bar.
It's more like Forest City almost.
Yeah, it's 434 and 436.
Yeah. It's just past that where the ice cream place, the Dairy Manor used to be, the little Dairy Manor.
Brewster's.
No, that's
Dairy Manor.
It's on 436, just past 434.
Okay. No, I don't remember that one.
Now it's a hot dog place. It's a Chicago hot dog.
Oh yeah, yes, I know the hot dog place. Yeah, next to the.
That used to be. That was an ice
New
cream
England
joint
bar.
forever.
I used to live there too. I don't even remember because that place has changed so many times, but it's been the hot dog place even through quarantine. But yeah, that one that's across the street from the New English bar.
There's that British bar right there. Is that where Kiwis is or no?
No, Kiwis is on the other side of 434. We're getting super local right now.
Yeah, nobody knows what we're talking about. Everything in Florida, just so everybody knows, everything in Florida has a number and a name.
Yeah.
So Cimarron Boulevard is 436.
Yep.
Forest City Road is 434.
And the thing is, if you go into one, you just keep going in the circle. Eventually, you go back. You'll pass it once, and then you'll go back again. So
100%. And you may end up on a toll road, and then all of a sudden you don't even know where you are. Oh, there's Disney.
Yeah. He would be a good person if you can catch him to be on a podcast because he's very much an intellectual. He'll read all the books. There's a few people that have been doing it for a while, and you could tell because they've read all the different books and they apply all the different things to improving. And it's like, I never even knew there's a thing called solo improv, and that's not the same as stand-up. There's a difference. I heard that from him.
How do you solo improv?
Oh, buddy. There's so much to talk about. It's like, what? But yeah, so Tuesdays is that. You can drop in that. And then I go to another place in Castleberry on Wednesdays. They have classes similar to SAC, but they are like teachers at SAC and students of SAC. And they started their own school out in Castleberry. So that's on Wednesdays.
So you're in improv almost every night of the week.
Yeah, 3 nights a week, and then I do sketch stuff on certain days. I'm part of a sketch YouTube channel as well. I don't promote that. I just joined that team.
Explain what sketch is.
So like SNL type stuff.
Okay. Oh, sketches.
So,
yeah. No, I'm sorry.
Sketch.
I'm thinking
so
you're
it's kind of
an artist.
Yeah,
drawing caricatures.
Yeah, that too. But yeah, it's similar to like not not Chappelle show, but not that, you know. But it's that type of thing. There's multiple sketches. It's called the Second Breakfast Club on YouTube.
When you sketch, do you sit out by the lake with a pretty little tree right here and put a little dog over here?
Hold on, I got to get my sketchbook, and I'm going to write that down, and it'll be inspired by you. I'll name the bit after you, because we can definitely
Instead
do
of
something
Bob Ross,
like
it's
that.
Zach Ross, and he can't draw, but he tries.
Listen, we just talked about Bob Ross in our last sketch meeting, so you're not that far off. I forgot what the bit was, but yeah, there's Bob Ross that we were talking about. So
if you're at Crane's Roost, you can a pretty little building, been here since 1876. Nobody's ever seen this before.
The pretty little clouds. We're just going to draw some clouds over here, some happy clouds
behind the building that's been here since the early 1800s.
Oh, so good.
I gotta remember
the Bob Ross bit.
Did you grow up here in Florida?
No, actually, but I have been here for like 12, 15 years now.
Okay. Where are you originally from?
Actually, originally is the Philippines. I lived there until I was 5. Then I moved to the great state of Montana, the Big Sky state.
Did you ride?
I lived there for 10 years. And then I moved to Ohio, where I graduated from Ohio State and then moved down here.
Oh, yeah. OH.
I-O. Yeah.
There we go. Funny story. So I'm like I don't like using the word savant because I'm not smart. I'm more of an
idiot savant, as they say.
There you go. Thank you. I was in the car business most of my life. Cars and bars. I've run restaurants and cars. And I can tell when the algorithm of the cars are going up and down, and it looks like it's, time to bail because you're not going to make money for a little while. So I'd run a restaurant, and I was a GM of Buffalo Wild Wings. And the original Buffalo Wild Wings is where? On the campus of Ohio State.
That's the original one?
Yeah, the 2-story one on your campus. It's either the original one or it's the busiest one. But I think it was one of the original ones. I think B-Dubs is from Ohio. I should know that. I worked for him.
2-story one.
So if you remember,
I think that's across the street.
Well, they say it's very, very slam and busy. But if you remember in the
it's right there on High Street.
BGC Bowl or whatever it is, when Ohio State played Florida back in 2006, 7, when the Gators won,
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that.
Right.
I was there on campus.
My B-Dubs.
Yes.
I ran the Buffalo Wild Wings. I ran the Buffalo Wild Wings down on LBV, the one that was in the Crossroads down by Disney.
Okay.
And we were competing with the Ohio State one, and we actually sold more than they did. The first time we were the busiest store in Buffalo Wild Wings history.
Oh,
the place was
so we
so
lost 3
crowded
times that year.
The place was so crowded that I had to stand on stools to just look across the restaurant because I couldn't get to the other side. If there was a fire on the other side, you were dying. I couldn't get to you. There was nothing I could do.
Yeah.
And I remember at one point in time, there was a fight about to happen by the bar, and my bartenders were trying to get over to the bar, and I'm like, I got it. And I'm standing between these two guys, and I'm like, guys, first of all, way too many people in here. We're not fighting. I'm going to buy you guys an appetizer. You're going to sit down and share it. You're going to break nachos and talk football. I said, second of all, if you don't like what I'm telling you and you take a swing at me, before you even swing, I'm going to fall down and be unconscious, and you're going to jail. It's like hitting a cop if you hit a bar manager. Okay? So take the free nachos or get out. Which one do you want? And so they sat down and ate nachos. They were about
Nice.
But it was so crowded. I'm like, if you guys got into a fight, this bar would break out into a fight. The whole bar, I would have just walked out the front door and probably just locked it and been like, 911, yeah, send everybody.
Yeah,
Everybody you got. But,
so you just unlocked a very traumatic memory for me, because I do remember that year. So the end of the football season, Florida won. Do you know what happened at the end of the basketball season? That same year? Florida won against Ohio State.
Yeah.
Freaking Joakim Noah. I still remember that. When he went to the NBA, I hated it. Every time he came to Orlando to play against the Magic. Oh.
The tragic.
Well, I think at that time they still
what
had
did
Dwight.
you study
So.
at the great state of Ohio?
Well, I started out as an electrical engineer, and I ended up with an education degree.
Wow.
Yeah, I just went out. That's
My-
I'm
my,
very much
my wife went to a University of Iowa, and she got her bachelor's in English and then her master's in education. So, she's a teacher, and teachers make millions of dollars.
I feel her and respect her at the same time.
I cry.
Yeah, I just didn't use my education degree. I'm in IT right now, so see how that turned out.
IT's good.
Yeah, depending on if you enjoy it or not.
I actually almost went to University of Michigan online, and it was only because the course they offered. I did a lot of research on the course, and they were like one of the best schools to go for this was cybersecurity. And I did a audit of the class, and it was a week-long audit. Class was every night. They gave you homework and everything. And by the second class, I had no clue what was going on. They were speaking a different language, and the kids were like 14 years old, and I'm like, what? This is a younger man's game. I'm out.
It was a younger man's game. Tell me that's exactly what happened in my first electrical engineering class 101. I went in there. The professor was talking. I thought he was speaking a different language. And then I switched degrees or majors. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah, I mean, my wife was like, I tried. I really, really tried. I struggled, but I got through, and the instructor was like, dude, you're getting it, but it's going to take time. And my wife's like, we're not spending $18,000 for you to maybe get it. I was like, all right, we're out. So I did not go to school for cybersecurity. I wish I had they didn't have cybersecurity when I was going to go to school, but they didn't even have computers when they did. They were called typewriters. And then they had a screen attached to them.
Yep.
Remember those Radio Shack TRS 80s that boat anchors? Yeah.
My mom was in the military. She did logistics, so I was the one helping her fix those things when I was younger. Should have known about IT at that time.
Should have.
But yeah, she had all that.
I enjoyed it. Like, I ended up when I moved here, as I said earlier, I moved here to go to Full Sail, and I ended up working for Full Sail. And when I was there, I became really, really good friends with the the guy in charge of the IT. And he was training, I mean, I was in security, but he was training me to come work for him and be a, what are the guys who go around, set up the computers and if you got a problem with your printer or something,
Yeah, it's techs.
Yeah, basically a tech, but they had a different name for it. It sounded fancy.
They all do. Yeah.
Yeah. And, I thought that would have been great, and I should have. And then my buddy, he's a doctor, but while he was going to chiropractor school, worked in IT, and he has his MCSE and he's a webmaster and speaks JavaScript and all that other stuff. And he's like, dude, go for it. You'll love it. System administrator. That's the title. I was system administrator. So I was going to go around and, I'd go basically, oh, you're a new office. Let me go and turn your computer on and get all your, proxy set up and everything. And
Yep.
Yeah. No, I should have, but I didn't. What are you going to do?
I would say the radio career was better. That was way more fun than.
It was the best, but it sucked because the pay sucks.
Yeah, I've heard that.
DJs don't make a lot of money unless you are like Howard Stern or Imus when he was alive, or anybody. Well, now they're all syndicated, or actually syndication was the dream, and then the new dream is to get on XM.
Yeah. I see. I was a big Opie and Anthony fan, and then Opie and Jim, and then Jim and Sam, and all those people. So that was what I grew up with.
So everybody thinks because I'm from Jersey, Howard was in New York, that I'm a big Howard fan. I actually couldn't stand him. I can go listen to a show today, and it's still talking about what he talked about 50 years ago. He's still talking in circles. I was never a big fan. I like some of the skits he did on it, and some of the guests he had, and
the Rat Pack or whatever, the Rat Pack,
Baba Booey, and and the Hank the Angry Dwarf, and
all those guys. Yeah,
but I used to listen to. Who was the guy? There was a guy here in town I really like, Crash. Do you remember Crash? He was on DIZ, and then it became JRR.
No, I actually didn't listen to a lot of
you know what? That was long. It was before
you
got here.
Yeah.
That was
when I got here. I just listened to music.
Yeah. Yeah, I listen to XM now.
Yeah.
Which is kind of sad because as much as I love like I listen to the old, hair metal and Ozzy's Boneyard and all the classic rock and stuff like that, but they all play the same songs.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to hear Bon Jovi at least 15 times in a day. I'm going to hear, everybody, Black Sabbath. Ozzy. Every hour they play an Ozzy or a Sabbath song on Ozzy's Boneyard. That's the rule. But how about Ozzy getting his own radio station and the bro can't even talk?
Well, it's the saying, like, when you do like this, and then you have music, but you can still sing, and you just keep going and talking like this and do.
Sharon!
Yeah, Sharon. Oh, I would just say I listen to podcasts.
Yeah, well, I need music when I'm driving.
Yeah.
Because when I listen to a podcast, I want to be able to focus on what they're talking about, and when I'm driving, I just need a little noise in the background. My friends are the opposite. They want to hear, like, they'll listen to my podcast when they're driving because it's just noise in the background. It's just me bambling on. I always tell them, look, if I don't have a new show, just call me and I'll talk for an hour in your ear if you want.
See, I yell at the phone, whether I'm in my house or driving down the road, or I do it when I'm running too. I listen to podcasts or something and then just yell at the phone while I'm running on the trail.
What's your favorite
look
podcast?
At me, it's fine. Oh my God. I actually have super like ADHD, so I can't do favorites. I'll just say I have a steady rotation of my online gurus, Healthy Gamer GG with Dr. K. He'll put out videos and podcasts, and it's like he's in my head because I was ruminating about something, and then he'll put an episode out about it, and I'm like, that's exactly what I was thinking. And then another one I listen to is Modern Wisdom with Chris Williamson.
Okay.
And Diary of a CEO, Lex Friedman, all those like heavy brainy podcasts, and it's usually that or comedy podcasts. So Bad Friends with Bobby Lee and Andrew Santino, Whiskey Ginger with Andrew Santino,
Is that
Tiger
the guy
Belly
with
with
is that the redheaded guy with Bobby Lee?
Yeah.
They're hilarious.
Yeah, both of them are, and they're just doing improv the whole time. Like that, they're the one that got me started on my improv podcast. Is like just that. I want to just talk and then bring people on sometime, or just have rotating people, and we just do improv the whole time because that's exactly what they're doing the whole entire thing. So yeah,
Do you watch Kill Tony?
Not the actual show, but I'll hear people talk about it, and I'll watch it for a little bit. But yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I also like they're hilarious, and it's just they say things that you shouldn't say, but they're comedians, so they get away with it. I like Bert
Kreischer.
Yeah, he's got a pretty good show. Two Bears.
Yeah, Bertcast is great. I love Bertcast, and then I don't really listen to Two Bears One Cave so much. If Tom Segura's on there and like him and his wife's podcast, not so much. But like Whitney Cummings, I listen to. Oh, Theo Vaughn, especially Theo Vaughn. He is great.
Dude, I was watching him the other day, and they did like the top 5 things he said were, he was just talking about Down syndrome and just different things, and you're like, what is
some of these people just have no problem saying all the words you can't say,
right?
Yeah.
Well, my friends say that all the time because one of my favorite words, and I don't mean it in a derogatory way by any means, and I'll explain it why, but I love calling people retard. You're a retard, and they're like, you can't say that. I go, but I can, because I'll do what's his name, it just nicked me. I barely, I got it a little bit, but I can't think of his name. Shane Gillis.
Yeah.
Where he talks about Down syndrome. Oh, it was in my family. It just nicked me. I barely almost got it. But my cousin who I grew up with had Down syndrome, and he was the greatest kid on the planet. So to me, it's like, it's not an insult. It's like, because he was the best kid in the world. He was like if you watch Ralphie May, when he talks about it, he's like, what do you mean I can't say retard? They're the happiest people in the world. They don't even know what I'm talking about. He's like, you wish you could be as happy as them.
It's just, you can't even be mad at Ralphie the way he said it.
No.
Because his whole jaw would move.
He was so funny.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Yeah, when he did the Cuban coffee story. Did you ever hear that one?
There's so many I've heard. He
talks about the one where he had he was in Miami, and he wanted a cup of coffee, and he's like, gets a cup of coffee, and the guy walks away. He's like, yo, Diego, do I look like a baby doll? What's this little cup? And he's like, okay, sir, we make you a cup of coffee. And they made him a big cup of Cuban coffee.
Oh, God.
he says, I drank it. And he goes, and for 30 seconds, it was the best 30 seconds of my life. I saw Jesus. And then I was in the corner. Lord, take me away for 72 hours sweating. Just the story is just hilarious. I mean, it's and I think he even talked about it where he's like, I had the shakes and all of a sudden, deuce, instantly. I just instant deuce.
That stuff will do it to you too.
Yeah, I don't drink coffee. I do drink coffee, but I drink actually mushroom coffee.
Ooh, okay.
I like it's this stuff called everyday dose or daily dose. Daily dose.
I think that's
really
a podcast. They sponsor a lot of podcasts.
It's very good. I've tried the other stuff. The Rise tastes like dirt. No offense, Rise. I'm not sold on you, but this daily dose
is that supposed to taste like dirt?
But my wife is a big coffeeaholic. She owned a coffee shop pre-teaching, and so she got me hooked on it. And she laughs now because I drink coffee in the morning, and I used to be so anti-coffee. But then again, I was the worst. I drank Coke Zero. That was my caffeine. But now I drink this mushroom stuff.
That's not enough caffeine. I don't know. I'm on board with your wife. I would be a coffee sommelier if I could. I love all the coffee. Tap it right here in the vein. Right, just put it right in there. I
have one cup in the morning.
Drink decaf.
I drink a big cup. I drink it's a half calf plus the mushroom coffee, which is enough for me. I don't get the jitters or anything, and I don't crash. And that's. But look, until you know me better, you'll learn I am naturally wired. There's no need.
I'm not surprised by that at all.
1987, my cousin comes back from college, from his first year of college, and we're out with our friends doing things we probably shouldn't have been doing in high school. I was in high school. He was in college. And he pulls me aside. We're at a party, and he's like, bro. It's like, what? He's like, have you done cocaine? I said, no. What? First of all, what kind of question is that? He's like, I said, no. He just said, good. I said, why? He said, because you'll love it and you will die. I said, okay, then I won't do it. And I never did. Thank God. I was never into that stuff.
Yeah, I was never a druggy person. It was later for me to get into weed, but that's the most I got into.
I tried it. I can tell you 8 times in my life.
What, weed?
Yes. And it was a ratio of liking versus not liking. The not liking won. So I think I can count on my hand the 8 times I did it, and 3 out of 8 times I had a blast, and the other times I had panic attacks. And the last time I did it was with my cousin. They used to call us the Toxic Twins because we were professionals. They just steered clear of us. They knew better than to try to go toe to toe with the Zak boys. But we're driving back from a party. We've been just doing bad, terrible things. He went to college in Florida, and I went to visit him, and I was beyond recognition, and we were at a party, and I was playing a video game. I don't know why. I don't play video games. I'm trying to learn them, but my eye-hand coordination, I don't know. As ADHD as I am, my thumbs are like awkward. Like I can't figure out, like, why should this button do this, but why is this not? Anyway, I digress. But anyway, so we're at the party, and they started passing around something, and I took a hit of it, and he was like, bro, don't do that. And it was too late. And it was weed, but it had stuff mixed in it. And took him about 6 hours to peel me off the wall. But we're driving home, and I'm hanging out the window, and I'm just like, take me to the hospital. I'm having a heart attack. I'm dying. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. He's like, he's like, idiot, pull your head in the window. Oh, okay. I'm all right now. I can breathe.
I've had that as well.
I said,
I've gotten so high before that I actually threw up. That's how bad it was.
Wow. I don't know.
Not drinking either.
I was a drinker.
Mm-hmm. I like to drink now.
I do not. I gave up. I have not had a. Well, so I did a podcast with my pastor. He was a guest on, and I had my cup, and I'm drinking it. And he's like, "What are you drinking, Zach?" I was like, "Vodka." He's like, "That a boy." See, now you have to know my pastor because he's he's a total jokester, and he knows it wasn't, because obviously it's buble. I like my pineapple flavored buble. And no, I haven't had a drink since 2007. Because I was a very competitive professional drinker.
Oh, okay.
It got to a point where I just didn't like it anymore. It was starting to hurt, and I was like, okay, enough's enough. I've been drinking. I started drinking when I was like 15, and there's nothing else to do in Jersey.
I would say the same about Ohio.
Yeah, Ohio's very similar, except we have a beach and you don't.
Yeah.
So
Which
we
makes
go
it
to the
worse.
beach and just get hammered, and then get in fights, and that was just that was the rule of thumb. The rule of thumb. Yes, the rule of thumb. That was how it rolled, and it just led on and on and on. And my personality is I have to be the best at whatever I do.
I can see that.
So I'm at my company. I'm the number one sales guy. It's just how I. So when it came to drinking, there was nobody who could drink me under the table. It wasn't happening. And if I passed out, somebody would wake me up so I can continue to keep going.
Ooh.
Yeah. I'd go make myself throw up so I could drink more. Yeah, it was.
I
It
went
got
to school.
a point, and I woke up one morning. I'll never forget. I was in the shower and I had the detox shakes going on, and I was like, God, I need a beer. And I went, I'm an alcoholic, and I never touched a drink again. Just stop. That was it. Done. No more for me.
Yeah, I went to school with guys like that. I never heard of like puking and they keep on drinking. I was like, what? I hate puking. That's the worst. Luckily for me, I'm a social drinker, so.
So here was my problem. I was beer did not faze me, and that's what most people got sick on.
Whoa.
I could drink beer. I actually would drink myself sober. But if I drank liquor first and then went to the beer and then went back to the liquor, the mixture in my stomach, that would throw me off.
Yeah.
But so yeah, whatever. I and everybody's like, oh my gosh, you better go to rehab. You got to go to meetings. I'm like, first of all, rehab is for quitters. I'm not a quitter. Meetings is for people who have problems. I don't have a problem. They're like, you have a drinking problem. I said, no. I realized I should no longer drink, and guess what? I don't drink anymore. They're like, you'll be back to it. And nope, I haven't had a drink since 2007.
That's good. Yeah.
Just like cigarettes. I haven't had a smoke since 2004. I was in really, really good shape, and I was working for a friend of mine. We used to deliver the big jugs of the 5 gallons of water, for Crystal Spring water. And I had my CDL, and so I used to drive a truck for him part-time. I would deliver on the weekends and do swing work when he needed help and stuff. And I was going up to the 3rd floor of an apartment complex to drop off a couple 5 gallons. I used to throw 2 5 gallons over my shoulder and just run upstairs. And I got up there and I was sweating and out of breath and struggling. And I could feel my heart pounding through my chest. And I reached in my pocket and pulled out the pack of cigarettes, crushed them, threw them away, and never touched it again. And I'm glad, because at that point in my life, I did not remember a day prior to that I never had a cigarette. Now I can look back and go, I can't remember smoking. But if I smell a cigarette sometimes, it'll trigger that little thing in the back of my mind. I'll go, man, that smells good. And I didn't smoke because I was addicted. Or maybe I did, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I was one of those people who enjoyed it. I smoked cigars, pipes. I chewed tobacco. I did snuff. I smoked cigarettes. If it had nicotine in it, I enjoyed it. And I just said, I got to stop. I'm going to die. My fingers were yellow, and yeah, it was just terrible. It's a terrible habit. Yeah.
You got to deal with boredom in a way.
I just, and here's the whole thing about, we were talking about weed and drugs and alcohol. I was so good at, it's terrible to say it this way, but I was so good at drinking. Thank God the good Lord saved me from it, but I was so good at it that I can control myself. I was like, my friends told me I was a better driver drunk than I was sober because I was very cautious, and I was a very coherent and knowledgeable drunk. So we were having a conversation. You would know that I was 3 sheets to the wind. I was not one of those, never once. Blacked out a couple times. That was just me. when I smoked weed, I didn't feel like I was in control. Alcohol, I always felt like I was in control. When I smoked weed, I felt like my mind was just going places I didn't want it to go. And my cousin was like, "You definitely do not want to trip, because I don't think you'll enjoy it at all." I'm like, bro, he did a lot of, he was, even though they called us the toxic twins, he was the toxic one. He did stuff that I would have never done. He tried everything. He was the guinea pig, I guess.
Yeah, luckily I didn't have to be around the heavy drug people, just the drinkers and the weed people.
When you were in college, I guess the big thing was probably what, beer and weed, right?
Definitely beer, because you can get that for free from anywhere. You can just walk around all over campus and get it for free. So there was a long time that I didn't drink any beer just because of college. It was just disgusting to me. I've always been fortunate, though, because I'm a social person. So if nobody wants to drink, then I'm like, all right, I guess I'm not drinking. But I'm the one, like, they'll hand me stuff. I'm like, all right, what's this? All right, I'll drink this. Oh, I'll do this. But it's like not anything crazy. So it's usually just alcohol or beer, or alcohol and weed. But I don't even think about it most of the time if people aren't doing it. I'll go to any party. It's like, we're not doing that. Okay, cool. So,
were you in a fraternity?
I almost was, but I didn't quite make it because my grades weren't that great. So,
do they actually look at grades in fraternities?
Oh yeah. Yep.
So my sister, she's not really my sister, but she's like my sister, was in a sorority at her school, and then she had her brother fraternity.
Mm-hmm.
And I went down to visit her. Now, this is, mind you, I was in my 20s now. And I went down to visit her. And we went to one of the frat parties for her brother frat party. And they had heard all about, we were called I lived in a town called Hillsborough. They called us the Borough Boys. And the frat boys were all giving me a hard, you're one of the Borough Boys. I heard about you. Where's the rest of the Borough Boys? And I'm like, what are you talking about? They're like, well, we heard you guys are going to, you guys can throw down, and there won't be any reason for, you're going to sleep with it. So, it's yours. Sorry. My daughter just came in and grabbed her iPhone off the counter. So we were known to be party boys, big time. And so this guy's like, oh, I heard about the Borough Boys, but only one of you show up. I go, that's all you need, bro. They're like, okay, whatever. Mind you, 3:30 in the morning when I'm walking around drinking a pitcher of beer and pouring it on them. Get up, you punks. You can't even keep up with me by myself. You're supposed to be frat boys. You guys are an embarrassment. I mean, I went into like drill instructor mode, and I was just barking at them and just like going. And like the next day they were just like Wayne's World, we're not worthy. They're like, they're college kids. I think I was about the same age, maybe a little bit older, but not much. It wasn't like I was in my 30s, I was in my early 20s. And so they were probably in their teens and 20s or whatever. And they were just like, we've never, ever had anyone like decimate us like that. And I'm just like, okay, but you guys stay in school. Stay in school, kids. Listen to Uncle Zach. Do not do what I do. It's not a fun career. And I do recall one of there's a few times in my drinking life that I should never be. It's not even like I'm talking about it like I'm proud of it, but my buddy Dominic, I'll never forget. I went home to visit. I was down in Texas, and I was touring. This is when I was touring. I used to tour with rock bands in Texas, and dude, in Texas is like Jersey, but 10 times worse. I mean, there's nothing to do, but after work, just pound beers with the band and the roadies, and just hang out and have a blast. And until they get on the bus, or you go on the bus with them to the next town, or whatever, depending on what shows I was working, how many shows I worked. And anyway, I went home, and my buddy Dominic pulls me aside. We're hanging out, and he's like, dude. I was like, what? He's like, you gotta stop drinking. I go, why? He goes, your face is like swollen and red. He's like, dude, you're like a booze hound. I'm like, I'm fine. Nothing wrong with me. I guess there was. So, that's, as I call it, my testimony. I walked away from it because I felt there was a bigger calling on my life. And that was definitely hindering it. That was definitely a stumbling block. I was in a dark area of my life, and I really came, like, people felt, did you fall off the wagon? I said, no, I stopped it, flipped it over, lit it on fire, and punched the driver. There was no getting back on. And I realize now, thank God, the good Lord saved me from that, because I was on a fast track to a grave. And so again, kids, stay in school. Listen to your Uncle Zach. Don't do drugs. Unless you're going to share. No, I'm kidding. It's terrible. But, drink. It was, you look back, and I'm sure you can attest to it, and you go, man, if I had every freaking dollar I spent on booze and smokes, I'd be I'd be rich.
Funny is Ohio State, like you go through most of that without actually paying for anything.
Well, I wasn't lucky in going to a big college. I bet you if I'd gone to Florida State or Rutgers if I would have been in Jersey and went to Rutgers, or actually ended up going to college like I was supposed to. But my father, after I got injured, I played ball and I got injured and wasn't going to go. And my father told me that I am not going to waste my money for you to become one with a keg and a couch.
Yeah.
So I said, all right. And I was not one of those people who would wake up for class. If there was class at 9 a.m, you'd better not have signed me up for it. I was a night person. I lived at night. I worked the night shift. I worked the evening shift. I hated the day. I was literally like a vampire. The sun was not my friend. And now I'm up at 6 a.m. every morning. And if I'm awake past 10:30, it's something wrong with me. My wife goes, it's because you're. I said, but says the one who's in bed at 8 o'clock. She's in bed already, so.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah,
I've never been a morning person. I still can't do it. I tried to be get up in the morning and go to the gym. I gained like 20 pounds trying to do that. It's just not a thing.
I enjoy going to the gym. I like going with my wife because she won't go unless I'm there,
Mm-hmm.
So I keep just threatening, dude, why don't I just buy an elliptical? She loves the elliptical. So why don't I just buy an elliptical and just put it in the house? What do we spend money on the gym? We never go. It's $10 a month, whatever. But, I went to the gym in the morning for a little while. And to be honest, it changed my opinion. I actually liked the gym in the morning. It started the day off right. You became a
full morning person. Jeez.
Yeah, I did. I switched. Yeah, people are baffled. They're like, wait, you wake up not to an alarm clock? I said, yeah. First of all, I have a black lab that jumps up on me and wakes me up in the morning. And or my daughter will text me, can you let Prince out? So I got to go let the Roddy out, whatever. Yeah, I do. I enjoy the day. I mean, I still, if I go home to Jersey and me and my boys are hanging out, I'm not in bed at 10 o'clock. I'm staying out till we stay out. I'll fight it. I don't care, because that's still fun to me. And now you want to talk about a podcast, put a microphone on all of us and we're just sitting around. No, thank God. All I have to say is there was no such thing as these when I was a child.
Yeah.
Because I would probably still be in jail.
And it kind of sucks for the kids nowadays too, because you can't just go out and make mistakes. Right. And then people not blow, like 10, 15 years later, they just throw it back in. It was like, I was a kid. Like, why are you doing this right now?
Well, even better. I mean, don't get me wrong. Well, some of my favorite videos, first of all, I love scare videos when people scare people. I just think it's hilarious. I can't do it in my house because both my wife and my daughter swing. So there's no scaring. I scare the boys when they're here, but scare videos. But when people fall down, just find it hilarious. Now, I wish we had a camera for some of the stuff. Like when I used to fall as a kid, I was spectacular about it. I made sure it was a spectacular disaster. Like, I'm going to make this like really good. Let's talk about improv. I threw my whole self into it. When I went down, it was going to be great. But I'm just glad we didn't have cameras. That's all. And I'll never forget. And I don't know how old you are, but I was working in a certain industry or field when the Rodney King incident occurred, and I told my team and my partner, I said, "This is it, boys. This is where life changes for us. The spotlight is going to be on everybody in a uniform from now on." And it sure is now. But now everybody, they wear their own body, they wear cameras, and yeah, it's great. I guess, for a safety and a he said, she said type of thing. But it's bad because, well, I shouldn't say it. It's bad because you can't get away with some of the stuff we used to get away with. But, it's, life completely changed when they made the video recorder.
Yep.
I mean, don't get me wrong. My parents and my dad, I remember when he bought the first, one of those big Sony shoulder things, and my mom used to film us everywhere we'd go. We'd be out fishing somewhere with dad, or we camping or whatever. Mom would bust out the camera Christmas morning. And my dad originally had the old 9mm or 8mm or whatever, that, which had no sound, but it was a black and white. And he would walk around, follow it like at the parties, but it had that light on it that, like, if it touched anything, would catch fire. The light was so freaking hot.
Yeah.
But the camcorder was cool, but then it also was not cool. So I just I don't even know how we got on a camera discussion. See how the ADH works, and you went right down the rabbit hole with me.
Yeah, because the camera thing is just kind of, you can't make a mistake. People just kind of, so we can transition to cancel culture, actually, because that's the whole entire thing right there. So about my first podcast, and it's like, I use the stage name, but other than that, it's like, how you can't, you can try to cancel people, me, whoever, and it's like, I speaking my truth. So that's how I feel about it. I mean, we can say my opinion. You don't have to believe me. You don't have to agree. I don't care if I'm right, but it's going to be my opinion based on facts.
100%. And even if it wasn't based on facts or truth, even if I made some nonsense up, but I believed it, it's my belief. Let's talk about something crazy about a belief. Tom Cruise's religion. Scientology.
Are you talking about Tampa? So,
I'm talking about Scientology. How that was based on a book that was about aliens crashing on the earth and they became gods. What? But people believe it. There you go. There's no scientific proof. There's no evidence. There's no truth or fact or anything to it. But that's their religion. I'm just saying, people believe
religion.
Yes, religion.
Or tax break. Way to hide your money.
Yes.
Yeah, we're just going to talk about the people in Clearwater. That's all there is to it out there.
Have you ever been to a Scientology place?
Well, you know about Clearwater. That's where that's the headquarters.
Right.
Yeah. So I've been by there. I've
never been in
the buildings.
I've never been in it.
Yeah.
Another religion was the satanic religion. I went out to California to visit a friend, and she took me. We didn't go to it, but we went to the hill and looked down at the largest satanic church. Mm-hmm. Just looking at it made me freaked out. I was like, all right, I'm good. We're out. I don't need to get sacrificed. She's like, they don't sacrifice people in there. But anyway.
Yeah. Actually very nice people.
Yeah. It's very interesting. But I was just like,
Scientology.
It's an interesting thing, isn't it?
I mean, it's not interesting when you look at the institution of churches in America. It's like, if you want to hide your money and not have it taxed, start a religion. And that's what whatever the guy that started Scientology, L. Ron, he just wanted a place to get a tax break.
He wrote a book. I remember the advertisement for the book on TV when I was a kid. The new, latest, greatest book by L. Ron Hubbard. Like, who the frick is L. Ron Hubbard? Who's this guy thinking he's Jesus?
Yeah, it's just when you have to pay to get to the next level of enlightenment or whatever. It's like, how? Speaking of cults, how do people believe this? You have to pay so much money. It's like, do you not see this as a scam? Right now?
Did it become now a MLM? It's no longer a religion. It's a multi-market level.
It's just
to get to the diamond level. Put in $12,000 and you're good to go. Yeah,
I don't know. There's like that joke out there. It's like, you want to hide your millions. What do you start? It's a church. You hide your money.
Yes, there are a lot, and you know what the richest nation in the world is? The Vatican.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
Now, I didn't realize the Vatican was a country. Someone explained it to me. I thought the Vatican was where the Pope lived, and it was the holy church over there. No, that's actually a country, and it's the richest country in the world.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. My wife was Catholic.
Visit sometime.
My wife was Catholic, and she used to tell me not only did they do their offering and tithes and stuff in service, then you'd get an envelope for the orphans, and you get an envelope for this. Every week you get a new envelope, for different money things. And she said, this is a business. They're making billions. Billions. There's a lot of, and look, I'm just not picking on the Catholic Church because there's a lot of Christian pastors that are just ridiculous.
Oh, the mega churches are nuts. Have you ever been over there to the Vatican? That whole area?
In Italy? Rome?
Yeah.
No. We want to go. We'd like to go. Greece and Italy would definitely on our list.
I want to go to the Vatican just to see it. I'm not Catholic or whatever, but I heard it's like changes your whole perspective just looking at something that old. Yeah.
My friend Ricky, he's Catholic, and when he and his wife got married, their honeymoon, they went over to Italy, and so the Pope comes out and blesses people. I guess I don't know the whole thing, but they were in their tuxedo, and she was in her wedding gown, and he came over and did the marriage blessing for them, which was kind of cool. He's got a picture with it. And I mean, people, it's a pilgrimage. People travel to get to the holy, the land. Now, my mom, who I always joke, people go, there's three chairs in heaven, which is the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. And I said, no, there's four, because my mom's she's sitting next to him. But my mom went to Israel, and to her, she said that was way more mind-blowing than the Vatican. She said the Holy Land, to walk the land that Jesus walked and taught, and to see it. She says that if you're a non-believer or on the cusp and you actually look at the history and check it all out, she's like, it changes your mind. I'd like to go. I have friends from Israel. They tell me all the time to come over and hang out with them. I'm like, so when Hamas is sending missiles over, they're like, dude, it's just, just another day. It's like, not to go to that side of town. I'm like, what do you mean? You mean you know not to go to that side of town? Wow. He's like, so it's kind of like a Friday night. You don't go drive down south in Paramore. I'm like, okay. He goes, yeah, because gunshots are going to go off. So we know that side of town stuff's going to happen. I'm like, okay, I'll take your word for it. I don't know that I've ever lived anywhere where missiles were getting launched at me.
Yeah, plus there's such a big world out there. You can go to so many different other places where that doesn't happen.
So here's the wife and I's goal. We would like to get a big RV and just travel America. I did it as a kid. My parents were school teachers. I've been to every state except for Alaska and Hawaii at least twice. And funny, my dad went to college in Ohio. He went to Bowling Green.
Okay.
And I went to I saw his fraternity and got to see the campus and everything. But I think there's so much here in America just to see.
Oh yeah.
That would. But don't get me wrong. Have you ever been to England or Europe?
No, not yet.
Okay, I've been to England. My wife's been to England. The history is amazing because you go to some parts of America, it's Plymouth Rock. It's been here 200 years. That's where Columbus, yada yada yada. You go over to England, and this was here in 900, AD, and you're like, holy mackerel, that's a long time ago. This castle's, thousands of years old, and it's really cool. The history is amazing.
And the thing about America, yeah, that'd be good too. The thing with America too is a lot of people don't realize that we're one of the countries where the climate changes are so different depending on what side of the country you're on. Like if you go to another, if you go to another country, you can get an American equivalent for it. So that's why a lot of people don't actually travel overseas from America, because you can go anywhere in America and get an equivalent thing. Like we have Florida where it doesn't snow, and you can go all the way where it's snowing most of the year. Like not a lot of countries have that. You can go from one ocean to the other ocean.
Like Montana,
you still,
when it snows all the time.
yeah, Montana, Alaska is like you can
I will
still
not
be
lie to you
in
though.
a,
Wyoming, Montana were two of my favorite states.
I don't know why.
They were so, well. I wasn't there in the winter for one. It was summertime.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
It was beautiful. Jackson
Yeah.
Hole was now I don't like obviously this was in the 80s, so long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
Back
I
in
don't
the
think there's
1800s.
anything still out there.
Back in the 1800s, boys and girls, when we took the wagon across the country with the wagon master. I do remember, and it's funny you say that, coming down into Florida and getting into the Orlando area. We didn't do the Disney thing. My parents were not into that thing. They wanted to go to state parks. They wanted to go see nature and everything. And I remember we were out on the coast. Cape Canaveral area, somewhere over there, because saw a shuttle launch. And I remember just how disgustingly hot and icky it was, which we deal with every day now because we live here. But I was like, this is ridiculous. This is how do people live here? And there's alligators and there's bugs that carry children away, and the mosquitoes. But I mean, it was amazing. But then you get up into North Carolina and up in the mountains or Tennessee and it's a totally different life. I remember we were in Hazard County, Kentucky. Obviously not where the Dukes of Hazzard happened because they were Georgia. But we were in Hazard County, Kentucky, and we were in a diner, just a little diner, and there was a cop in there. And I asked him, I said, "Are you from the sheriff from the Hazard?" And he could tell I was trying to ask him if he was chasing the Duke boys, And he's like, "Yeah, them Duke boys be always getting away from us." And it was just this cool little town, It was just so much fun. And then I went to LA in '84, and I was there when the Olympics were going on. And LA is a total different world. Now, I grew up literally, I could take the train into New York City. We'd go into the city all the time. We were always in the city. Matter of fact, every Sunday we went because my grandparents lived in Brooklyn. We were always in the city. The food is phenomenal. I knew how to get around the city. Even as a kid, I knew where it was safe or it wasn't, anything. Los Angeles, I was completely ignorant. And there was sections that we were like, where the Olympics was down by, I think they had them at UCLA, the big stadium there. And we were down there and we, later on find out that that's not a very nice area to be in.
No.
It's like Compton, Oops, I made a wrong turn.
Mm-hmm.
I'm watching Boys in the Hood going, wait a second. I was there. That looks familiar.
Yep.
But there's so much to see in this country that you're right. You don't have to leave because you'll see every kind of culture, every kind of ethnicity. Can't even say it.
There's an esthetician.
Them too. You'll see anything from $1 million homes to dirt poor cabins in the woods, and it's all in the same country.
Yep. You want to see the Everglades? You go down to Florida. You want to go to a desert? You go to Nevada.
Arizona.
Yeah. You want to go skiing? You just go to Denver, Washington, wherever. All those different kind of things. And if you just want big city life, you go to New York. You all around.
Have you ever
don't
been
have
to
to
the
leave
Grand Canyon?
I've driven through there. When I was living in Montana, we went to Vegas, and then I was actually supposed to go to Santa Monica for high school. That plans changed, but
Santa Monica, isn't that where the Lost Boys took place?
I don't know. Man, that's a deep cut. I haven't seen that movie in so long. Santa Barbara, Santa Monica, one of those.
They had, I think it was the Santa Monica Pier.
Lost Boys. You remember Prayer of the Roller Boys? I'm pretty sure that was the same area too.
Yeah.
That's a classic.
And what was the other movie with Christian Slater where he was a BMXer? Rad or whatever it was. Didn't that happen out there too?
I don't know. I don't think I've seen that one. I've heard of it, I think, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah, when they tried to make BMXing cool in the movies, but it didn't take off.
Yeah. It's like rollerblading.
Yes.
It's not cool.
No, I'd BMX though. I did. But yeah, you're right. I mean, I remember going through Texas. First of all, Texas is his own country, the United State of Texas.
Yep.
And you could literally be in big city, little country town, or out in the desert. when we drove from Vegas east. No. Where were we coming from? We drove through a desert, and I remember we ran out of gas. We were just pulling into the town, and we ran out of gas. And there was people. It was a little country town, and they came out. It was a church, actually, and the guy got us a can of gas, and he's like, "Look, we're having barbecue." Brought us over. We're having a big picnic. We ate with them right there, broke bread. They helped fill our tank up, and down the road we went. I mean, that's cool stories of America right there. I mean, you know. Yeah. So I think my wife and I would have a blast in an RV, me, her, and Bosley, my dog. And we could do a podcast from the road.
Yeah.
Zach and Zach from the road.
It'd be like Tom Green and his fiance about to be wife.
Oh, does he do
it? Yeah, he just came down from Canada and started a YouTube channel where he's doing like videos and photography. They go to like old ruins. There's like crazy ruins in America that nobody's ever talked about. And he'll put them on his YouTube channel. And he's starting to do a podcast with his fiance now. And it's like the shots of it looks like something from Europe, but it's in the middle of the desert in Arizona somewhere. And it's like, where are these old ruins? I don't understand.
I'm going to have to check that out. That sounds interesting. Did you ever see or go out to New Mexico to Area 51?
No, we missed that one.
My buddy lives out in New Mexico, and he says it might make you a believer. It's quite interesting out there.
So speaking of aliens and like ghosts, I'm not a non-believer. I want to see one. I'm just not going to believe it until I actually see it. So I want to.
Let me shake ET's hand, and then we're home.
Yeah,
homies.
Exactly.
I don't doubt that there are other forms of life, but I'm like you. I need proof. Proof is in the book.
I want to see them.
I've never seen a ghost.
Neither have I. I want to see them. Come possess me, and then I'll believe it.
No, you could just show up. Don't possess me. We're gonna fight if you try.
Just like Bigfoot and the Chupacabra. It's like, I want to see this. Where's Finding Bigfoot? How long are these shows going to be going on and they haven't found anything yet?
Dude, that dude is the all-time world champion of hide and go seek.
Yes.
100% best guy on the planet, Bigfoot. Him
and that whole
what's the abominable snowman, the Yeti.
Yeah.
And the Chupacabra, but that's in Puerto Rico. I've never been to Puerto Rico, so I can't say if it exists or doesn't exist.
What's the one in Mexico? Like south?
I thought that was a Chupacabra.
Maybe it was. Maybe it's not Puerto Rican. Maybe it is Mexican.
Yeah, I think Chupacabra. Because then the Wendigo's up north.
They call it
so
the bloodsucker.
Those two.
The bloodsucker. So in Jersey, we had the Jersey Devil.
Yeah.
He's out in the Pine Barrens. And there is, by my house that I grew up, so I grew up in a town, I said earlier, Hillsborough, and then we have the Sourland Mountain chain that runs through it, which is not a mountain, it's a bump. But there's a story, we have the Roaring Rocks, that at a certain time, a bride and groom went up there in the 1800s or whatever, and they got killed. They died in the woods. I don't remember how, but they and if you go there at the right time, then you will see them walking about. And we'd go all the time. I never saw it. I'd be like, come on, where's this dude and chick at? Let's go.
Same thing with Bloody Mary. Flush the toilet 5 times, say her name, never saw her.
I tried it. We did it in church down in the basement. I'll never forget.
That's the best place. Yeah.
It was probably why it didn't work. Just saying. I don't
Silly
know.
kids. I think all the kids are the church kids, the ones that were there like 5 times on Sunday. We had to do something. So
we're getting out the Ouija board. Wait a second. I never did that either. I didn't. It didn't interest me. I didn't believe it. Just like I don't believe in fortune tellers.
Yeah. Psychics.
I had a fortune teller come on my radio show. It was actually on the show after me. It was the guy he was running the night shift. It was his friend. She was a fortune teller, but we were shift changing, and I stayed on with him on the air for it. And she gave me a fortune, which it didn't happen. So I didn't believe it. said I was going to become rich one day.
Yeah.
I'm still Zach. I'm not rich.
Yeah. You got like another 20 years or something like that. So
Maybe
time, I guess.
Maybe when I die, and it'll be, hey, by the way, that lady was right. You were rich. What? Son of a gun. Why did they?
Maybe she didn't mean money. She meant rich with family, love, and all that. It was just
Maybe I took it the wrong way. I don't know.
yeah.
I didn't get the good vibe from it. So
Yeah.
I didn't get the heebie-jeebies. I wasn't scared, but I was just like, eh. And now there's a Rottweiler in here again.
Yeah.
Vicious mean one. Let's circle back before we wrap everything up here shortly, because I know you have a guest coming over. You must entertain.
Yes, I must entertain.
Play a little Robbie Williams. Let me entertain you.
Yeah. Now we're getting into my podcast topics, Derek.
Robbie Williams or Let Me Entertain You?
Oh yes, all above. You don't know about my Robbie Williams character, so
he's a singer. He's great. He's a British guy. He was like the what's his name? Ricky Martin, but from England.
Yeah.
Ricky Martin was in Menudo, and then he became a solo artist. Robbie Williams was in a boy band, or Justin Timberlake. He's like Justin Timberlake. He was in a boy band, and then he became solo famous.
Mm-hmm.
But he's British famous. He's really good. I really like. I dig his music. I have some very interesting musical genres that I like. Genre? Did I say that right? Anyway. So what got you into podcasting?
Okay. Yeah, we didn't touch about this before. So quick answer, I got tired of yelling at my phone and TV because I would hear podcasters, specifically in the relationship field, talk about things that were not common in my world. So I live in the more non-monogamous space, and a lot of relationship people do not have experience with that or haven't done their research on it. So I was like,
monogamous meaning one and one always
partner.
Together partner.
Yeah, one partner, and then
for long time.
Yeah, as long as possible. And yeah, non-monogamy, you have multiple relationships.
Monogamous. I can talk that.
Yeah.
Me and the wife have been together for 14 years.
Yeah. See, I like to know about that because it's an experience I don't have.
So you're non-monogamous? Is that what you said?
Non-monogamous, yeah. It's like the umbrella term for all the swingers and the open people and the poly people. That's the umbrella term for all of that. A lot of the relationship people, especially the ones that get onto podcasts and like TV shows, they would talk about it, but they're like married and monogamous in like multiple years. And it's like, how do you know about the dating world? And then you don't really know about like dating apps because you were married before they came out, but you're talking to people that, you're talking to people that have to deal with dating now. So it's kind of like, try these things, but I don't have experience with it. I have the academic background. Yes, you have the degrees and you've done the research and the certifications, but it's like, you're not living the life now. I don't know if you've seen a lot of these relationship people, but most of them are like married or already. And it's like, I would like to give the experience for somebody that's actually trying all the different things. I was on the dating apps when there were no apps. It was websites you had to log into. And then the phones came in and then you had to put it on your phone. And that was a whole new experience there. So I'd like to get my experience of the dating world and then also getting into the non-monogamous part of it. And I'm a big fan of blending worlds because people in monogamy and non-monogamy like to say there's two different sides, but we all need communication. Okay. I just happen to be able to do it like with 5 different people, so I get more experience than with one at a time. But it's still all communication. You have to be able to have the difficult conversations with your partner or partners. Right. And a lot of people, I feel like, just don't do that. That's why like the marriage rate, divorce rate is like 50% or whatever. So people are unwilling to have the difficult conversation.
Well, I believe it's higher than that because you get comfortable. So my wife and I are actually going to do a podcast, Zach and Zach Living Abundantly, because we're, as we like to say, we're an imperfect couple living under a perfect God. Because both my wife and I are very, I hate this word. The word is not religious. It's not the right word.
Spiritual?
We're followers, believers.
Okay.
so there's a difference between religion and relationship, if that makes sense. With my creator, and so we both lived a different life prior to each other. Both of us dated a bunch. We were on the dating sites, pre-phones. They were, Plenty of Fish and what was the other one? The big one, Match.com, Christian Mingle, blah, 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 all of them. I was on every one of them. And at my age, so when my first wife and I went our separate ways, I was in my 30s. I was in my 30s. And there were women who were going through a divorce who've been married for 8, 10, 12 years. Same guy, whatever, going through a divorce, and now they're suddenly free. And it was not like dating prior to when I was a kid. When you went on a date, you went to a movie, you went to dinner, you guys courted each other for a while. Now it's like you go out to dinner and be like, all right, we going back to your place? And that's the chick saying that. And you're like, what? Whoa, I don't even know you yet, bro. And now I'm like, I feel violated. I was like, but it was a whole different world I had to get used to. And I got to be honest with you. I adore my wife. I love her. And I'm so glad I have her, because I don't know that I'd want to date right now. I don't think I could deal with it.
See, this is my bread and butter. So before I talk about my thing, who's the one that's not married and has no kids? Is that Derek, or that was Chris? I listened to that episode.
Derek.
Oh,
Chris.
But
Derek is married.
Okay.
And has been married for quite some time, but they don't have any children. But Chris is not married and doesn't have any. Yeah.
Oh, see, I want to talk to him. That guy. What is his experience?
I can hook you up.
I love the dating process. All the hate, I hate it and I love it, but I love all of it, because there's so many different things that I think most relationship coaches don't talk about, because there's dating apps. And some of them talk about the dating apps, but each dating app has their own formula. And it's like people just kind of put themselves out there, all like, let me put this crappy T-shirt on that I have, and I'll put that on my dating phone. It's like, you can't do that. It's not how that works. You have to sell yourself. It's all about selling yourself. And then when you go out online or offline to like a social event, there's another way you have to sell yourself there. There's social capital and all. It's like all these little nuances that people don't realize that they're just haven't been taught. Like for me, growing up, I didn't have this conversation with parents or role models. I learned how to date from my friends, my peers.
I learned how to date. Yeah, my cousin, he taught me basically, don't be scared, just go talk to her.
Great, thank you. That's so helpful. That's
right. Thanks, buddy.
Information. Yeah, that's all we got. And I was not the person just go do it. Like neurodivergence was not a thing when we were younger, in the dating age. It's like, no, we can't just do that. Go out and get a job, go get a degree, get a job, and then you'll get a wife or a husband. Like, no, that's not how it works.
That was my father's generation.
It's like, I need the research. I need the terms. Let me read the books.
Do you know what my father's advice was about dating?
I can imagine.
He would say, be a gentleman, take good care of her, and then his favorite line, keep the horse in the barn. And I'm like, what does that even mean? Keep the horse in the barn.
Goodness.
He's like, I don't need any grandchildren. Oh, all right, I got you now, Dad. Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great. And then you hear stories of people that are like married and trying to have kids. They never had the talk. And they go talk to their doctors like, we tried a bunch of times. It's like, oh, where are you putting things? Are you putting it in the front door or the back door? It's like, oh, the back door. It's like, that's not how reproduction works there. Yeah, they were literally going in the back door. They didn't understand why they weren't having kids. And it's like, why are we taking sexual education out of the school system in certain states? Why are we doing this?
Sure.
And
no one taught. You're right, because there was never the conversation with my parents. That was a taboo thing.
Yeah.
My dad would be like, "Oh, go ask your mother," or
And see, I'm from an Asian Asian culture where they just like, you just put this in the map and then you just go to it. It's like, no, what does that mean? No, you have to talk to the people. And like my mother raised me as a
I
gentleman.
don't think they have problems in the Asian culture. They got a couple billion people over there. So
well, that's China. That's different. Yeah, women have less rights over there, so we're not going to talk about it. Yeah,
all right, yeah,
it's good to give and take. But me growing up, my mother taught me how to be a gentleman, and then you go to find out like women don't want that.
Is both your parents Filipino or just your mom?
No, just my mom. She's half. My dad is black. But yeah, that's how I was raised, and it's like no. Especially in my world.
Was your dad military?
Both my parents were military, actually.
Oh, okay, both. Okay,
yeah,
awesome.
I was a military bat 22 and a half years.
I know. Well, see, I know a lot of guys from the Navy who went to the Philippines and ended up with a wife.
Oh, yeah. Navy, Army, and Air Force. Still a thing.
Yes.
My
buddy was over there, and he got a house.
Yeah.
Had a mama son who would wash his clothes, feed him, do everything. It was like $10 a month or something. And he's like,
you can still do that now.
He's like,
I'll just tell you now, Zach, you go to the Philippines now, and there's guys that look like you with like 20-year-old Filipinos.
Yes.
So, yeah, that's a common thing. That's more than the average. Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
What was I saying?
No, and I get it because we're not trained. Maybe there's the childhood pregnancy number is so high because there is no training or education.
No. I would say yeah.
Yeah.
I
can understand that.
Abstinence is a contraceptive. Is just like what? No, these kids have hormones. Like we need to have this conversation and not just like just put a condom on. It's like no, you got to learn how to talk to people.
Right.
Say what you want, not have these difficult conversations. I was in my late 30s before I realized there was multiple phases in a relationship. Attachment theory was a thing. I was heavily avoidant, and I was ruining relationships because of it. And it's like, oh, there's co-regulation? What's that? And some of us need terms, like myself. I'm heavy on the tism. So you have to spell it out for me. And a lot of people just kind of like, oh, just do it, or they figure it out, and it's like frustrating because they just kind of figured it out after like 10, 15 years of marriage, and I'm just not that person. So I have to talk to those people that need the terms and everything.
There's two things in my mind I give props to. All right, there's and I don't want to sound boastful, but there's people like me who were married, dated prior to marriage. I had girlfriends since I was a kid. It wasn't that I was not an unpopular dude. I married a girl, didn't work out. Then I dated, and then I found the woman that I'm going to spend the rest of my life with. And kudos to that, because I went through the phases of my life that I felt I had to go through to get to where I had to be. But then I meet people who, my friend Dominic and April, they met in, I want to say 8th or 9th grade, and they're still together to this day. They're their one and only. They've always been.
Yep.
They have two beautiful children, and I mean, that's just, to me, that blows my mind. That's like kind of, my father taught at the same high school for 40 years. How the frick do you do that? I don't understand it. I don't like working at the job I work at for 4 years, let alone 40. After about 6 months, I'm already bored.
Yeah.
And so there's so many aspects to people's personalities and lifestyles and aspirations that if you get lucky and nail down the right one, that's awesome. But sometimes you do have to try out a couple to find the right one. Sometimes it's more than a couple.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of experimentation. Learn something about something and then try it out for yourself, see if it works. It took me a lot of research to get to that point. I dated. So I used to call my dates, I didn't call them dates, they were meet and greets, because that's really what they were until they became more than a meet and greet, First date's always a meet and greet. I had to go through many, use the old analogy, I had to kiss many frogs to find the princess. Right? And then sometimes you find the princess, or you think you find the princess, and then the princess turns out to be a wackadoo. Or maybe you're the wackadoo. Whatever. But
But it still blows my mind. My parents were married for 40 years before my father passed away. Kudos and props to that. My mom's a wackadoo. She's 100%. Like people, I told my kids this one time. I was telling my boys this. I said, look, every female, and I say this in the utmost respect, is on some sort of level of insanity. You just have to find the one that you can deal with.
Yep.
They're like, what about your mom? I go, dude, my mom's the mayor of freaking crazy town. So trust and believe when I tell you, I grew up with it, so I understand it.
Yep.
I happen to get lucky. My wife is very low on it because there's only so much I can tolerate because I tolerated it all my life. But there's some people who thrive off that. I guess my dad was the complete opposite. My friends used to say, your dad's so laid back, you think he's in a coma. And then my mom was just the total, like, crazy little Italian from New York who was just way bonkers off the wall. And this is just how it was, right? Like, the first time my wife met my mom, like, about being at the house for maybe a half hour, 40 minutes, she's like, why are you guys yelling at each other? I'm like, we're not. That's how we talk. But she was not used to that. My wife's from Iowa, where everybody just speaks very flat and very, I don't know how to explain it, but they're very nice to each other. It's almost like Canada. They're nice. Everybody's nice. My mom's from Brooklyn. She'll hit me with a frying pan to get her point across.
Yeah.
While she's still cooking and won't miss a beat, flipping meatballs. And, that's just the life I go, so you got to find your level of happiness. And it may take you a while and you may get lucky. I don't know what the percentage is, but it's got to be super low to find that 1% of people who find the love of their life and that's who they stick with forever. Now, I don't know if you would consider that boring. I consider that pretty awesome. I like the fact that I got to go out in the field for a little while, play the game, but I also really like the comfort and the comfort of the love and security that I have. I also like waking up next to somebody that I know is going to be there every day for the rest of my life, as opposed to where I used to wake up next to my cat. Jerry wasn't giving nothing. He was just looking at me kind of sideways.
See, I'm a believer of both. I'm not against marriage and having kids, but until I find that one, then it's like, man, it's like a deeper topic. We'd have to do a whole nother podcast about this.
We can.
But yeah, I'm a believer of all that.
This is leading into podcast number 2 with Julius.
Yes, because we can talk about relationships and get your co-host on here, get Chris on here. Like, it's like, wow. I was listening to that. I was like, no marriage, no kids. Let me have a million questions.
The toys he has.
Brother
be driving a new car every other week.
Oh yeah, that was crazy. I didn't understand any of it. Like, what's a piston?
Don't feel bad. I just nodded a lot. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm the relationship guy. I'm just if you saw my car, like, because Derek has the body shop, right?
No, tint
shop. Okay, because he's talking about wraps and stuff like that too.
They also do. They do detailing and wraps and stuff. Yeah.
Oh God, if he saw my car, he probably shit himself.
Do they need a wrap? Does it need a wrap?
Oh, it needs. It works. That's
so
all.
I'm not a car guy per se as a motorhead, but I'm a car guy. My friend said this to me the other day. He's like, "You get a new car every 3 years, don't you?" And I said, "Yeah, I get bored, so I get something different." Although this last one I bought, I'm probably not going to trade it in for a long, long time because I have one of my dream cars right now. And but when you work in the automotive industry, you get the pleasure of driving everything, so you know what you like and what you don't like and what you want, and what you're going to buy and what you're going to pay and all that other stuff. If you're not in that industry, then you have no idea or no clue. You just think that car looks nice, I'm going to buy it, or that car's going to get me from point A to point B, right? So to hear Chris talking, I was just like, holy crap, that guy's like he should be working in the car business because he's got all the toys. Even I don't have that many toys. So, but and that's another thing I don't judge people on is their vehicles. I don't care what you drive.
Yeah, I try not to judge people. I don't understand why people care about what other people are doing. I don't understand that.
100.
I don't.
There,
I got so much stuff
like,
going on for myself. You talk about getting bored easily. I have so many different things. Like if you look, that's why I had to put the green screen up because there's so much stuff, unfinished projects back here. And now I got all the improv stuff. And trying to run a show, I will tell you as a new improviser, is a pain in the ass because people will say they are ready to do improv, but then you try to hit them up and they're like, I'm busy, and it's like, oh. So yeah, I got all that going on. So I can't worry about what other people are doing. I just don't understand it.
Yeah, there's like 2 things or 3 things, and I just realized what time it is. We're probably gonna wrap up. I think your guest has arrived. Have they?
We're getting close, yeah. Around the corner.
Good. There's. I don't like ignorant people bother me. Okay, and ignorant meaning not stupid, but ignorant meaning. They like a Karen up in people's business, and you have no business being anybody's business. That bothers me. I got lucky. I've never had a Karen really square off on me. I think they sense that vibe that I'm probably not the one they want to square off on. I that's something I won't tolerate. And the other thing that bothers me worse than that, I think, is stupid drivers. And but I live in Florida, and I don't know why.
Yeah.
I drive down I-4, and I said I'm going to get a big machine gun on the top of my car and just start smoking people. That's terrible. I would never do that. But anyway. But yes, whole nother show. Relationships. Just Julius, bringing you relationships. Do you watch that show, Psych?
The TV show?
Yes.
Yeah, I watched it when it was on for the first few seasons.
It's hilarious. When Gus was when he was the DJ, where he's like, smooth brother in the night. It was so funny.
That character.
When I said that, I go, just Julius. I was like, oh, there's Gus. He's like, just Gus.
It's that radio voice coming out again. Like
yes.
it.
I do that, and people. It's funny. I was telling my wife, she was on the podcast Monday night. We were talking about education. I told her 4 fingers. She's like, what is 4 fingers? I said, that's how far you should be away from the mic. You should never be farther than 4 fingers. You should be right here. It's perfect. She goes, well, why do you do that? I said, because then I talk in my radio voice. Smooth jazz. I said, if you see me getting passionate, you'll see I'll eat the mic when I'm talking. Or if you watch some of the old Political No Brainer, I'll eat the mic to shut Trippy up because I'll talk real loud. We should just do a show on ADHD and see how many topics we can cover in one night.
I think we got to like 20 this time. So
there should be a little counter in the screen.
Yeah.
We'll hire somebody.
If I had like a producer and everything, yeah, I would do that. And I want to put like a dry erase board on the back, like they do in Around the Horn. That one guy, he has the saying, the quotes on the back. Yeah.
Look up my buddy Daniel Quijano on YouTube, and he painted the wall with that chalkboard, the black chalkboard paint, and he writes on it with a chalk. Yeah, it's kind of cool. I'm not that cool. My handwriting looks like either I'm a doctor or a child. You guess. Your guess is as good as mine. But I very much enjoyed having you on the show. I love the fact that you were able to keep up with my rabbit. Usually Derek keeps me. If you watch the show, you'll see he keeps me. And actually, if you watch Monday's show with Lorianne, she'll check me in quick, fast. She hates when I go all over the place. I shouldn't. Hate's the wrong word, but she keeps me in check because I have the ADHD. I got the ADHD.
We're on the same boat. If you listen to my podcast, I would talk to myself. I would jump all over the place anyway. So
as my daughter would say, you're on the spectrum, aren't you? I said, yeah, probably.
Yes. Proud member.
Spectrum of life. I don't even understand. I don't understand what the spectrum is, but it's a new thing, I guess.
Oh yeah, we can talk about that in another podcast too, because I'm a big fan of all the spectrums.
So, and yes, we will definitely do that. But I had a friend whose child, or he's not a child anymore, but he had Asperger's. I found out that's not a thing anymore. It's part of the spectrum. I'm like, no, I like the name Asperger. Why do you take it away? But anyway, people are like, he had Asperger's. I said, well, I have ass clowns. So what do you want? I'm part of the spectrum too. I made up my own level.
I would say a lot of celebrities have that as well, especially comedians.
I said, so, and we're going to wrap up after this. You brought up another topic. I had a lady, I was in the car business.
Oh, down the rabbit hole.
When I was in the car business, I was running the finance department, and I had someone who was buying a car, and she filled out her credit report, and she got SSI, $4,500 a month for SSI. And that's quite a bit. That's a lot. That's more than I normally am used to seeing. SSI is usually $1,200 a month, $1,100 a month, whatever. But we love SSI because that means it's a guaranteed check, and they have to pay their bills or they get taken away from the government. And I said, "Oh my goodness!" I said, "What's your SSI for?" I said, "That's the most I've ever seen." And she says, "Oh, it's for my girls." And I said, and I'm looking at her kids; they're sitting there playing, and I'm like, thinking in the back of my mind, how do I say this without insulting her? And I just came out. I said, "What's wrong with them?" And she says, "They have the ADHD." And she got $4,500 a month because her girls had ADHD. And this is where my favorite word comes into line. I said, "My parents would be millionaires because I'm half retarded."
Yeah.
And I said that. I said, "I don't understand it." I said, "My parents should be millionaires because I'm half retarded." And the lady laughed. Like, "They should have." I'm like, wait a second. They should call me retarded. That's my joke. You can't say it. Whatever. I never, when she said that, she said, "My girl's got the ADHD. Is that like the diabetes?
Yep. The sugars.
The sugana. Anyway, tell me your 3 podcasts again so we can promote it for you.
Okay. Around the Kinky Campfire.
Where are they?
The Around the Kinky Campfire, Thursday is a new episode around like noon Eastern on most major platforms. So Spotify, iTunes, what's the other one? Amazon, all those things.
Are you on YouTube?
Yes.
Are
Around
you
the Kinky
voice
Campfire.
podcasts or are you video or both?
Just voice for right now.
Okay.
So you see my face. Hello. I don't know. I'm still on the fence of that. It's still a one-man operation, so it's like, how much do I want to commit to all this? And then, Is It Isekai, the anime podcast? New episodes usually on Tuesdays. That one's just on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, and I can send you all the socials for that too.
Yes, please.
Most of it is based off my Instagram page, and then. Oh, my guest is here. I have a long-form improv podcast that's Armando's Living Room. That one is just on YouTube. Actually, Is It Isekai is on major platforms as well. That one should be on Spotify. Not on iTunes, though, but like Amazon and stuff like that.
Perfect. Okay. Well, send me the info. I'll make sure I post it so everybody can follow you. Guys, everybody follow and like Julius's stuff. You got 3 different podcasts you can follow him on and enjoy. And
YouTube channel and all that stuff, yeah.
Yeah, you, of course, thank you for following us, liking, sharing, subscribing to No Brainer. We will be back next week with another fantabulistic guest. I'm not sure who it's going to be. And Derek should be back. I'm sure Derek's going to watch this and go, "I'm glad I missed that one," because he was all over the road. I don't even know what they're talking about. But thanks again. Joyce, thank you for coming on. Let's do this again soon.
My pleasure, and I hope to see you soon.
And I'm going to do some improv with you. And I'm going to come on your improv show. I want to do it. I want to have fun.
Thank you.
Yeah. Excellent. All right, buddy. Everybody, good night. We love you. Peace.